You know, when we talk about school technology, it's so easy to just picture a classroom full of shiny new gadgets. But that's not the whole story anymore, not even close. The game has totally changed. Today, we're going to get into how modern school tech management has evolved into this really sophisticated data-driven science.
Okay, so to really wrap our heads around this huge shift, let's look at the old way of thinking versus the new way. It's a fundamental change in what we're focusing on, moving from the physical stuff to the invisible, but incredibly powerful information that stuff creates.
For the longest time, a school's tech plan was all about deployment, right? It was a numbers game. How many interactive whiteboards can we get up on the walls? How many tablets can we put in students' hands? That was the old focus. But the new focus, the one that's actually making a difference, is all about analyzing the data that flows from that tech. It's way less about the device itself and much more about what the device can tell us.
All right, so if data is the new goal, how does school leaders actually see it? What's the tool that makes this all possible? This is how they get what you could call a snapshot, a clear, real-time picture of what's really happening academically across the entire school.
The key here is something called a learning analytics dashboard. I want you to think of it like a command center for a school principal. It pulls together all these different streams of data, from attendance to test scores, and puts it all in one place that's actually easy to understand. We're not waiting for report cards anymore. We're seeing trends as they happen.
So, what kind of data are we even talking about here? Well, it's incredibly practical stuff. These dashboards are tracking everything from the basics, like student attendance, to how much time kids are spending on online learning, what their quiz scores look like, and how active they are in the school's learning management system, or LMS. Every single data point is another piece of the puzzle.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. It's not a one-and-done deal. Just having all this data is kind of useless if you don't do anything with it. And that brings us to this continuous cycle. A repeatable process that turns all that raw info into real, measurable school improvement.
And this is that cycle. It all starts with a plan. What data do we actually need and what technology is going to get it for us? Then step 2, you implement it. But step 3 is absolutely crucial. You monitor that data in real time. And finally, step 4, you review that information to make adjustments. Maybe that new software isn't getting used, or maybe a whole group of students is starting to fall behind. This cycle makes sure that technology is always an evolving resource, not just a one-time purchase. So what does this actually look like on, say, a Tuesday morning? Well, it means a principal can look at their dashboard and see a student whose online participation has just dropped off a cliff, and they can coordinate an intervention before that student fails a test. Or they can see that teachers aren't really using a new digital tool, which tells them, hey, maybe we need more training here. This, right here, is where managing infrastructure merges with real, hands-on instructional leadership. Okay, this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But is anyone really doing this at a massive scale? Well, for a fantastic example, let's take a look at Finland, a country that's famous for its education system. They have embraced this data-driven philosophy in a huge way.
Get this, over half of all schools in Finland use a single learning analytics platform called Vili. That is just a stunning level of adoption. It really shows a national commitment to using data to personalize learning for every student.
And this is so cool because you can see how it helps everyone involved. For teachers, the VLL platform shows them crystal clear which students have mastered a topic and which ones need a little more help. That lets them intervene right away with targeted support. Now for the students, the system uses that exact same data and even some AI to create personalized learning paths, suggesting specific practice exercises just for them. The goal is simple, but it's so powerful. Optimized and equitable learning for every single kid.
All right, so let's pull all these threads together for the main takeaway. When you combine this big shift in focus, the right tools, this continuous improvement process, and these real-world examples, you get a pretty clear formula for what success with school technology really looks like today.
And here it is. Effective tech management boils down to 3 key parts. First, you've got to have the right infrastructure. Then, you need to be analyzing the data it produces. And the secret sauce is using that data for continuous improvement. You need all 3. Get those right, and you're well on your way.
So I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Whether you're a teacher, an administrator, a parent, think about your own school. With all the information that's out there today, what do you think is the single biggest piece of data your school isn't using to its full potential? Answering that question might just be the first step into this new era.